Replacing Tanner Benoways on Story Time. This is Evan Stropolopoulos. First, we'll be talking with Moshe the Beetle. So, you warned the Jews of your town for the coming danger. Why didn't they listen to you?
They thought I was crazy. And what would you do if someone from your town came up to you and started talking about the extermination of your people?
True enough. I hear you taught Ellie. How was he as a young child?
From a young age, he was very interested in the teachings of the Kabbalah. However, his faith deteriorated when his people were tested.
That was interesting, Mr. Beetle. Now, Shlomo, we have some questions for you.
Whoa.
That was a very interesting story by Mr. Beetle. Now, Shlomo, I have some questions for you. What was life like in the camps?
Well, we had barely any nourishment, and we were like walking skeletons. We were very skinny. We didn't eat much, and we were still expected to work like dogs, day in, day out. The ones who could not work were killed. So even though we had no energy, we carried on. We did it.
I understand that you and your son grew very close over your time in the camp, concentration camp. Was there any time when you thought you would lose him or that he would turn on you?
I was constantly worried about my son, because he's my son. He's my son. That's all I'm going to say. And I was lucky that he did not try to be rid of me when I became weak and ill. And yeah, well, other boys' fathers do.
Thanks for coming. We're back with Eliza. So, Ellie, can I call you Ellie?
Of course.
So, you made it through one of the worst concentration camps ever established. So, how did you keep yourself alive?
Well, I had to stick by my father. He was the only one who could really keep me going through those harsh times. And, I had to stay with him. I had to keep my family together. I was separated from my mother and my sisters, so he was the only one I had left. Other prisoners also aided me, when I needed it anyway, sometimes giving me extra rations and other times just telling me what to do.
That's touching. Can you recall your first night?
Never shall I forget the first night in the camp. It has turned my life into one long night. Never will I forget the smoke of the faces of the children whose bodies I saw turned into wreaths of smoke. Never shall I forget those flames which consumed my faith forever.
We're back with Alf van Clausewitz. You were stationed at Auschwitz during Wiesel's time there. Were you there on your own accord?
I was not. When my country went to war, as did I. There were many loyal Germans that had this attitude. I didn't know, however, that I'd be stationed at this concentration camp, or what they even were.
Why didn't you just refuse the slaughter of innocents? Wouldn't it be better to have been in the war itself rather than working in a killing factory?
Well, it was not a decision where you were stationed. You have to keep in mind, I was living in a fascist society where you made no decisions. They were already made for you. If I had my own choice, I wouldn't have taken part in the war. Every time I closed my eyes, I would never be able to forget all the faces of the innocent men, women, and children dying, waking up to the thick black smoke, and the stench of burning flesh will never leave my memory.
Well, we're back. And that was an interesting response for Alf. Now for you, Klaus, you were also stationed at Auschwitz. Were you there because of Germany's wishes, or were you there on your own?
My wishes and those of Germany are one. I was ready to help the Führer create a better Germany, a stronger one.
How can you possibly justify what is going on in these camps? I mean, how can you possibly believe that extermination of an entire people would lead to a stronger country?
I could not deny Hitler and his request. He is the sole leader and promised a prosperous Germany, where we were in power.
I'd like to thank all the guests for coming. Please tune in next time for Story Time. We're back with Ellie, the author of the book Night. So Ellie, you made it through one of the worst concentration camps ever. I'd like to thank all the guests for coming today. Please tune in next time for Story Time.